Hello everyone, this is class 42 of Kerala PSC HSA English. I'm Sri Lakshmi. Today the class is based on George Orwell's Animal Farm. Eric Arthur Blair. He used this pseudonym George Orwell for writing his works. He was born in Motihari, Bihar, and his father worked in Indian civil service. George Orwell was always more of a journalist than a novelist. And he also served in Imperial Police in Burma. And these experiences are described in his works, his first book, Down and Out in Paris and London, 1933. Then a novel, Burmese Days, 1934. Then his second novel is A Clergy's Daughter. Then other works are Keep the Aspidistra Flying, The Road to Wigan Pier, Homage to Catalonia, Coming Up for Air. And his major essays are Inside the Veil, Politics and English Language, Why I Write, Shooting an Elephant, etc. His masterpieces are Animal Farm and 1984. Animal Farm is a political allegory of the Russian Revolution, and 1984 is a dystopian novel. We can see symbolism, proletarian sympathies, and contempt for upper middle class society in his works. So, coming to our topic, Animal Farm is an allegorical, anti-utopian, that means dystopian novel, and it was published in London in 1945. According to Orwell, the book reflects events leading up to the Russian Revolution of 1917 and then on into the Stalin era in the Soviet Union. He believed that the Soviet Union had become a brutal dictatorship built upon a cult of personality and enforced by a reign of terror. Animal Farm can be seen as a social commentary. The background behind writing Animal Farm was, first of all, Orwell had socialist sympathies. Though he was aware of the dangers of socialism, he was against both communism and capitalism. So, in this novel, we can see the portrayal of Russian Revolution. It is a satire on Soviet Russia and totalitarianism. Here, war plays a very small part. We can see the results of war. As I already said, it was published in 1945 and it was on August 17. So, what happened in the previous 4 months were, first of all, Roosevelt, Mussolini, and Hitler had died. Churchill had been voted out of office. Germany surrendered, and the US dropped atomic bombs over Japan. Of the 3 big allied leaders, only Stalin survived. And during the Second World War, Russia had been an ally of the US and England. After the Battle of Normandy in 1944, Western nations had a feeling of solidarity with the Russian people. The Russian army helped, and protected England from a German invasion. So, as a result of the pro Russian atmosphere, Orwell had a hard time finding a publisher for his novel. So, before going to the novel, let me tell you the who are the major characters and the major events that are happening in the novel. First of all, there is a pig named Old Major. It stands for Lenin or Marx. Then there is Jones. He's a farmer, and he stands as Tsar Nicola II. So we can see the evils of capitalism and the decline of man through him, through that character. Then there is a raven named Moses, and it stands for organized religion. And Napoleon is a pig, it stands for Stalin. Then there is another pig named Snowball. Snowball stands for Trotsky. Then Squealer. Squealer is another pig, and it is a propaganda agent. And there are humans. Humans stands as capitalists there who exploit the weak. And the pig stands for Communist Party loyalist. The dogs act as Stalin's secret police, Chega or KGB. Then there is Boxer and Clover. They are unskilled labor class. Then Pilkington and Foxwood stands for Britain. And Frederick and Pinchfield stands for Germany. And the major events that are happening in the novel is that, first of all, there is a battle of the cowshed, which is an anti-revolutionary invasion by the West. Then there is battle of the windmill. It is a German invasion of Russia during the Second World War. Then there are rebuilding attempts are happening, which is Stalin's 5-year plan. Then there is a drunken party, and it stands for the Coherent Conference. Stalin sat down for the first time with the West. So these 4 events are happening in this novel. Now let's move on to the story. The story is set on a typical English farm called Manor Farm. Old Major, an old prize-winning boar, calls all the animals of the Manor Farm for a meeting in the big barn. He tells them of a dream he has had about a world where all animals live free from the tyranny of humans. He tells the animals that they must work towards such a paradise, and teaches them an inspiring revolutionary song called Bees of England. Old Major dies 3 nights after the meeting in the barn. But the animals are enthusiastic about his idea. And 3 pigs, Snowball, Napoleon, and Squealer. So they formulate his main principles into a philosophy called animalism. One night, the farmer, Mr. Johns, forgets to feed the animals, and the animals manage to defeat him in a battle, and Johns and his men are chased off the farm. They rename the farm Animal Farm and dedicate, and the 7 commandments of animalism are painted on the barn wall. So let me tell you, before moving on to the story, let me tell you the 7 commandments of these animals. First one, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Second, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. Third one, no animal shall wear clothes. Fourth one, no animal shall sleep in a bed. Fifth, no animal shall drink alcohol. Sixth, no animal shall kill any other animal. And the last one, all animals are equal. So these 7 commandments were seen on the barn wall. The cart horse boxer devotes himself to the cause with particular zeal, adopting as a personal maxim the motto, I will work harder. The revolution seems at first to be a success. The animals complete the harvest and meet every Sunday to discuss farm policy. Because of their intelligence, the pigs become the supervisors of the farm. Snowball teaches the animals to read, and Napoleon undertakes to educate a group of young puppies in the principle of animalism. Mr. Jones attempts to take back his farm, but the animals defeat him again in the battle of the cowshed and take the farmer's abandoned gun as a token of their victory. As time passes, however, Napoleon and Snowball begin to struggle with each other over various issues. Snowball devises a scheme to build an electricity generating windmill, but Napoleon opposes the plan since building the windmill will allow them less time for producing food. There is a meeting of the animals to vote on the windmill, and Snowball gives a passionate speech. After which, Napoleon's dogs, the puppies, that Napoleon had undertaken to educate how to chase Snowball off the farm. Napoleon becomes the leader of the animal farm and declares that there will be no more meetings. He declares that from then on, the pigs alone will make all of the decisions for the good of every animal, and that they would build the windmill after all, since he asserts it was originally his own idea. The animals, especially Boxer, devote their efforts to completing it. One day, the half finished windmill gets destroyed in a storm, and Napoleon claims that Snowball returned to the farm to sabotage the windmill. He stages a great purge during which any animal who opposes Napoleon's uncontested leadership is alleged of partaking in Snowball's conspiracy and put to instant death at the teeth of the dogs. Meanwhile, Boxer has taken up a second maxim: Napoleon is always right. With his leadership unquestioned, Napoleon begins expanding his powers, rewriting history to make Snowball a villain. Napoleon also begins to act more and more like a human being, sleeping in a bed, drinking whiskey, and engaging in trade with neighboring farmers, all of which are violations of the 7 commandments of animalism. Squealer, Napoleon's propagandist, justifies Napoleon's actions, convincing the cold, hungry, and overworked animals that Napoleon is protecting them and making things better for everyone. Mr. Jones has left the farm for good, but there are troubles from other humans. Mr. Frederick, a neighboring farmer, cheats Napoleon in the purchase of some timber and destroys the windmill, which had been rebuilt at great expense. A battle ensues, during which Boxer is wounded. He later collapses while working on the windmill and is secretly removed from the farm. Napoleon had sold Boxer to a glue maker in order to get money for whiskey. But Squealer informs the animals that Boxer has died in peace in the hospital, praising the rebellion with his last breath. As time passes, the pigs begin to resemble human beings more and more. They, walking on 2 legs, carry whips and wear clothes. Eventually, the 7 commandments of animalism inscribed on the side of the barn become reduced to a single principle reading: all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Once Napoleon entertains a human farmer named Mr. Pilkington at a dinner. He declares his wish to ally himself with the human farmers against the human and animal laboring classes. He also changes the name of the animal farm back to the Manor Farm, claiming that this title is a correct one. The common animals looking in through the farmhouse window and can no longer distinguish the pigs from the human beings. The creatures outside looked from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again, but already it was impossible to say which was which. Thus, the novelist concludes that every organization is bound to corrupt. The ideals of revolution are forgotten by the organization which enjoys the power. So, through Animal Farm, the author laments the death of those ideals which were the supporting base of Russian Revolution. The Russian Revolution of 1917 started with high hopes and noble ideals. Stalin, who was a leader of the revolution, influenced the common masses of Russia with hypocritical tyranny. The author tells us many incidents related to the extremist policies of Stalinism. The episode of the windmill project, the pig's attempt to imitate human beings, the killing of ducks and hens, the death of Boxer, etc., symbolizes the tyranny of the Stalinist regime. So that's all about the novel. Now let's go through some questions. Whom does Napoleon the pig represent in Orwell's Animal Farm? Napoleon stands for Stalin. Who represents Trotsky in Orwell's Animal Farm? Snowball, the idealist, represents Trotsky. Snowball is also a pig. What character represents the simplicity and good nature of common man in Orwell's Animal Farm? Boxer, the noble cart horse. What is allegorized in Orwell's novel Animal Farm? Stalinism. In George Orwell's Animal Farm, who are the smartest animals? Pigs. What is the subtitle of Orwell's Animal Farm? A fable. George Orwell's political satire, directed primarily against Stalin's Russia, is Animal Farm. Which of the following statements is true about George Orwell's Animal Farm? It is a satire on French Revolution. It is a satire on Russian Revolution. It is an allegory on the American War of Independence. None of these. Answer is, it is a satire on Russian Revolution. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. This quotation is from which of the following works of George Orwell? Animal Farm. In Orwell's Animal Farm, which of the following characters raises the animals to a rebellion? Old Major. In Orwell's Animal Farm, the animals rebelled against Farmer Jones. Orwell's Animal Farm is an allegory. Characters are symbolic. Which of the following characters stands for Marx and the principles of Marxism? Old Major. In the satire of Orwell's Animal Farm, humans represent Marx capitalist and animals represent the common mass of people. In the satire of Orwell's Animal Farm, Stalin is represented by which of the following characters? Napoleon. Orwell's Animal Farm symbolically represents the Russian communist history. Leon Trotsky, who worked with Lenin in preparing the way for the Russian Revolution, is represented by which of the following characters? Snowball. In Orwell's Animal Farm, after Snowball is banished, who takes over the control of the animal farm? Benjamin. In Orwell's Animal Farm, the Tsar of Russia is represented by which of the following characters? Napoleon. In George Orwell's Animal Farm, animals turn on Mr. Jones and his men and drive them off the farm. This incident allegorically refers to the Russian Revolution of 1917. Animal Farm in Orwell's Animal Farm represents which of the following countries? Russia. Which of the following conclusions is seen to be drawn by Orwell in his Animal Farm? Animals are better than human beings. Human beings treat animals very cruelly. What began as utopia as heaven on earth has ended as the opposite? None of these. And the answer is C. What began as utopia as heaven on earth has ended as the opposite. So there ends a question and answer session and also the class. So now let's move on to module 7, basic grammar, phrasal verbs. So as I have already said in the previous classes, today also I am presenting before you some of the phrasal verbs and its meanings. Try out, practice writing some sentences. Then only we will be able to understand in what situations or in what circumstances these phrasal verbs are used. It is because the meaning that you get by combining these 2 or 3 words together is different from what's the meaning when it gets separated. So this combination of words give you another meaning and then only it will become the phrasal verbs. So that what it's make different from other chunks. So that's all for today and thank you.